Wait, did Andy Byron just give Astronomer $1 billion? Find out in this video. It started with a kiss cam at a Coldplay concert and ended with a CEO out of a job. As a CFO, I've been watching this case really carefully. Not about the scandal, but about the surprising ripple effects it's had across leadership, brand awareness, and its billion-dollar valuation. In this video, I'll break down what most people aren't talking about: the real effects on Astronomer, the winners and losers from this debacle, and the surprising effect it's had on Astronomer's valuation. Sounds good? Let's dive in. And the most fascinating thing about this is, as a business case study, we're really watching it in real time. The effect on the business, what their future is going to be, and how they're actually handling it. So in the first part of this, we're going to cover what are the positive impacts for Astronomer out of this whole mess. And the first one is really that Astronomer has now got what most people couldn't buy with $1 million marketing budget, which is they've gotten this whole media coverage, which is absolutely out of this world. It's not that they're necessarily a household name because they operate in such a niche category within the IT services industry, but within the actual broader tech community, they now have this brand awareness which is just off the charts, and obviously something which they never could have matched through any other organic growth or even just product development side of things. And maybe it's the biggest media coverage that a small data analytics firm has ever had. Another positive for Astronomer here is really the scandal has really just been about the two people involved. It hasn't really had effect on the brand or the company itself. It's very much been about who are these people, what were they doing, and it's not really affecting back to the company directly itself. And if you compare this to a scenario like Elon Musk, where the fallout from 2025 really had people protesting about not wanting to buy Teslas, covering up the badge of their car, and sales taking a dive. That's really an opposite scenario where the effect of the person had a direct impact on the company fortunes. And let's compare to something like the CrowdStrike July 2024 software update disaster that they had, where that was something directly tied to the company's actions and the quality of their product. And if you look back to then, a year ago, the stock valuation peaked at $392 back then, and it dropped down to $239. But a year later, it's gone back up, current value $467. So a year has passed, and something as negative as that, which had a massive fallout for the company, they have gone up to positive heights, even overcoming that themselves. The other positive is for the sales team at Astronomer. They can get a meeting with any company in the world at this point in time, just from curiosity factor alone. So they've got a foot in the door to start selling their Astro product however broadly they want to get. And that's a massive advantage for at the stage they are, where they're trying to push into global clients. And they can get into a meeting with the head of IT at any company they want to. Now let's think about the winners and losers from this whole scenario. And let's start with the losers here. The first two obvious ones, we now have a former CEO, Andy Byron, and we have a former Chief People Officer, Kristen Cabot. The chances of their next phase in their career would be significantly challenging. And of course, the biggest losers really are the families of those two individuals and the fallout that they're going to still be dealing with for a long time. And now let's move on to who potentially the winners are from this situation, because there are some, and some of them are going to be big ones. So let's start with the first one, Coldplay. Their Music of the Spheres World Tour was already the second highest grossing concert tour of all time, only behind Taylor Swift. So they really didn't need a push like this, but Coldplay are in the news everywhere. Footage of the concert is everywhere, and it's only rubbed off on them in a positive sense. The second winner is the media. There's been a constant stream of articles, and they'll keep coming at it with every angle they can because people click on it. But the third winner here, I think, is actually the most interesting one, which is Pete DeJoy, the interim CEO. I think he's a guy who's possibly got a massive future in front of him. He's now been landed an opportunity, and what he does with it really is up to him. Let's track back. In the last 2 years, he's gone from the VP of products up to the Chief Products Officer to now the interim CEO. So there's huge opportunities ahead of him, and it's quite possible he won't end up as the CEO after they move on and actually go and recruit someone, depending on the stage of really what they want next, whether they want to pursue the being acquired angle, or whether they want to pursue organic internal growth for the next year or so. But he's also built up another layer in his career profile that will be a massive positive for him. And so why is there going to be such a good support for Pete DeJoy? Well, he's been with Astronomer since 2017. He's one of the co-founders. He knows their products inside and out. And I've got a feeling he's going to have a lot of internal support from others in the company, definitely from the other leadership team. And if he has got some good support from the board, he may even hang on to be a permanent CEO. And I think he's someone who possibly could do it. And I really liked the moving forward at Astronomer quote that Pete put out shortly after becoming the interim CEO, because it also had a level of like, we're completely overwhelmed by what's happening. It felt very real, but it wasn't also corporate speak. It seemed sort of a little bit down to earth, but also that we're going to embrace the position we're in at the moment. It was very focused on, we're here to do a job, and if there's opportunities, this is going to land in our path, then we're going to make use of it. So I think, go Pete, this is going to be a great opportunity. The next winner is Astronomer as a company. Now, partly because the CEO and the CPO have both resigned within 7 days of the scandal, and the fact that they have resigned and not being terminated means that Astronomer potentially has a clear path without the threat of legal action from either of them. The fact that they've resigned, Astronomer can move on with a clean slate, and that leaves in a position where we've broken ties fast and we've all moved on. And of course, let's not forget maybe the biggest dollar winner out of all this, which is the venture capital funds. And personally, I would never bet against venture capital funds. 4 of the 5 board members are there because they've got venture capital seats. There's a massive amount of money that's been put in, and the venture capital funds here are never going to be the ones that are going to lose out. So they are protecting their investment. They're going to support the people in the company that can take it forward, and they're going to get rid of the ones that can't. But the biggest question is, what has all this done to the valuation of Astronomer? And the fascinating part of this is, has it increased or decreased the value of Astronomer at this point in time? So let's circle back. In March 2022, Astronomer did a funding round, and at that point in time, they were valued at $1.1 billion. But a couple of things happened since then. In January 2023, they let go of 20% of their workforce. In April 2023, they laid off 100 staff, nearly half their workforce. So whether or not they're still a unicorn at that point in time might be questionable, because they had to reset the business, reset the size they were at, and what they were able to deliver product-wise to clients. But then we fast forward 2 years, and in May 2025, they raised $93 million in a Series D funding round. And that tells me that they still had massive support from the venture capitalists, and they had massive runway ahead of them to basically greenlight their global expansion, greenlight their next phase of ramping up to the point where they potentially hit the fork in the road saying IPO, or we want to be acquired and there's a buyout. So in these recent times, they've been building out their global team, and especially their global sales channels, so they can hit all the corporates in that large tier and start getting their product synonymous in the industry. So this is all positive news. And then in the start of July 2025, just before the Coldplay gate, we had an announcement where there's a strategic partnership between Astronomer and AWS. So again, another massively positive news story, which was about them getting embedded into clients of AWS, into being able to use the Astronomer's Astro tools. And further to that, their Astro product is a market-leading product. So there's enormous growth potential in that side of things, and they have a great position to be able to do it from. But also, let's not forget, really what they're trying to do at this point in time is develop more products and services in the AI space. And I'm sure the next growth level they have is to really harness AI within Astro and their services that could exponentially enhance the services they can offer to clients. So this all comes at a time when, if the venture capital firms are at the stage where they're looking for an exit, and we've done multiple funding rounds already, and we've got a lot of positive news around the product side itself, we're going to be thinking about, well, what's the effect on the valuation? If we potentially had a unicorn status, $1 billion valuation several years ago, where are we today? And what has the effects of the last couple of weeks done to change that? The brand awareness has skyrocketed. Their product hasn't changed. It's still successful. There's no negative news about the company itself, the product, the future path, and the runway it's got. And they've also got a team that has already been in the background evolving this product, and that team is still there. So I don't think there's a negative that still harnesses a month from now with the company, but really they have a exponential enhancement of their brand and their ability to leverage that from this point forward at a time when it might be ready for the investors to make an exit. So I'm expecting that the valuation might have gone up in the last week and a half, thanks to Andy Byron, maybe by $1 billion and maybe even more than that. Let's watch this over the next 6 to 12 months to see what plays out. If you think you know what's going to happen to the valuation, comment down below. I'd love to see if anyone thinks it's going to go down. And also, what's the ceiling for this group? This video has been a business case study on Astronomer. I also do videos about being a CFO and helping develop those skills for other people to get ahead in their careers. But if you want to see another business analysis video, check out this one. It's about the OceanGate Titan disaster, and it goes super deep in the analysis of that company and why it was doomed from the start. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.